Episode 13.
Let's go.
Yes, sir. Back again, your hosts, Paul and Ryan.
You know what it is, Ryan and Paul.
it's
Ryan and
a
Paul.
litty Sunday. A
That's
lot
right.
has been going on, man. Let's hop into it. I see you got the Bears jersey on
Hey,
right
hey, hey,
now.
hey, you
Let
see me?
us
That's
know.
good. Hey,
What's the
listen.
game been like? What was the game like?
Hey, man, the game was rough, man.
Repping
Hey,
the jersey and the hat.
hey, if I'm gonna be honest out here, man, Mitch was looking a little sketch. You know what I mean? But we got the win. We came through with the win.
Trubisky,
Oh
he
Jesus.
wasn't looking true.
That guy right there, the guy that we traded up, that we gave up, some picks for and passed up Mahomes and Watson, but we ain't gonna get into all that. You know what I mean? We ain't gonna get into all that. Well, all I'm gonna say is that we pulled out the win
Yeah.
today. I'm sure I'm just as excited as everybody is out there that football is back. NFL Sundays are back. NFL Mondays, Thursday night games. Hopefully they can keep
Yes,
it
sir.
COVID free and safe. Man, let's talk about these
Yes,
stadiums as
sir.
well, man. Because what I come to find out is that a lot of these stadiums are only allowing a capacity of 5,000 or so. And I kind of looked into it, and the reason they're doing
Okay.
that is because of the season ticket holders. People who already bought their season
Yeah,
tickets, ahead of time, trying to take care of them. So I'm
makes
like,
sense.
all right, yeah, limit capacity, spread them out. I mean, I get it. The normal guy who's coming into who's going to the game. I mean, they're not really losing anything, right? They're not losing anything, but you know,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I'm happy to have it back.
Hey, I watched a college game. I watched a college game earlier. I watched Duke earlier,
Nice.
and their stadium situation. It makes sense that you say that because they had a lot of people in the stands. I was looking like, damn, it don't look like football missed a step. But
Not at all.
at the same time, it was like people were still socially distanced. You know what I mean? They were still spaced out in the stands. But it's funny because it's college, so you still had, even though they're talking like, oh yeah, look how safe people are, they're distanced, you still had a whole section full of people, the rowdies. They all had their shirts off, chugging beers. Like that section was packed. So the rowdies don't care. They
Oh, they
out
don't
there
care.
repping for their school. But for the most part, everyone was spaced out. Everyone was spaced out. Way
Right.
more than 6 feet in between each other. It was like a family here, a family there, a family here. So if that worked in college, I could see it being the same thing for professional football. So that's good, man. Hopefully the season can keep going smoothly. We can keep getting these wins. So the Bears, they won, right?
Yeah, man, I took the W today. It was a hard fought
Good
W. We
work.
didn't
Good
know we were
work.
gonna get it, but I mean, hey, full
Who
speed
who
ahead.
they who they beat?
Detroit, the Lions, the Lions.
Of course, of course, of
Yeah, yeah,
course, of
yeah.
course.
I
I
mean, but
seen.
you know
I
what?
I should have known because I saw. Yeah,
I was gonna say, I got to give it to them though, man. They didn't look too bad. They didn't look too bad. But go
I
ahead.
saw somebody. I saw somebody tweeting saying the Lions are going to find way more reasons to lose than the Bears find to win.
Come on, man. What kind of?
It was like the Bears just had to do their thing. I don't know if that was a diss to the Bears or the Lions, or they just dissed both in one tweet.
Yeah, they just,
But it was,
they
the
sneak,
Lions
they sneak this it.
sneak diss, and it don't matter. However we get a win, we got to win, and I'm gonna take it. Take it,
Yeah,
man.
that's facts. That's facts, man.
That's good, bro.
Hey, let's talk about your boy McGregor, man. Did you see the news? You see
What,
what's going on with him, man?
what's going on with McGregor?
Man,
What's the news? Clue us in.
hey, so they say that he's retired, right? But we all knew that he was going to try to come back and maybe fight another fight or two.
Yeah, I saw that he accepted a fight a while back. What's the newest? What's the latest development?
Man, the latest development is an assault charge, either an assault charge or an yeah, or a or a rape charge included
Yeah.
or something. I don't know, man. Like,
Shit, cuz.
yeah,
Shit.
I
Now,
know.
where did this happen? In
Uh,
America or Ireland?
I forget, man. I didn't really see the details, but when I saw that, it brought me back to that video of him in Ireland at a bar when he punched that older dude. You remember that?
Yeah, yeah, I
And,
remember
I,
that.
and I'm just like, man, it kind of bears a question. I don't want to be one of those, I don't want to be the guy to speculate, but it's like, damn, does McGregor have a little bit of I don't know, man. Have a little bit of a temper. Have a little bit of a
Oh, you
problem.
know he does.
Yeah,
Because you brought up him beating that old dude up in the bar.
exactly.
Like, come on, fam. You a world class UFC fighter. You know, I know boxers, their hands are damn near registered as what?
Weapons. There's
Deadly
weapons.
weapons. So
Exactly.
I mean, you don't, as Conor McGregor, you don't just fight with your hands. You fight with, you know, your legs, everything. You can grapple, you can kick, you can punch,
Shit, he won his last fight.
elbows. I mean, come on. He does a whole swinging around move. We know that move, man, where he hits you with the back of his forearm. So
That's what I'm saying. That's how he.
Conor McGregor himself, his whole body is a weapon. So for him to look at an old man and be like, all right, he must want it. Like, come on, fam. You should know, like, I can take this dude at the drop of a dime. So let me remove myself from the situation.
Exactly. You got to have a little bit more control over that. You know what I mean? Got to have a little bit more control. And Dana White, he came out with a statement. He said, whether you're retired, whether you're, whether you're retired or not, you still represent the UFC, right? So you can't be doing stuff like that. You can't get yourself in trouble. Even though we don't know the details, you know, it's still bad publicity. So, I mean, you know, he's aware of the situation. They're aware of who McGregor is, right? But, I mean, you gotta control yourself, though, man. You can't be punching old ladies. You can't be, you know, putting your hands on women or whatever, man. Yeah. Accusations of sexual assault, it says, you know. I mean, what's going on with that? and it was in France.
But the sexual assault is
it was in France too. It was in France too. So maybe I don't know.
He violating all over the world. You
know, the notorious. He out here showing his package, man. He got to calm down, relax, McGregor.
And I bet we won't hear anything from Dana White.
Nah. He said a little something about it, but then he moved on. He moved on real quick, you know. He moved on real quick. So hey, you know what we got coming up important as well. You know, off of McGregor. I just had to bring that. Yeah. I just had to bring that up because you know we had our guy Neil on here. And,
man.
And we've been paying attention to the UFC.
Yeah. Shout out Magny.
Yeah, shout out Magny.
If y'all didn't know, I don't know if we even went over it on our last episode, but you know, if you follow us on socials, you would know that Magny won his last fight.
That's right.
So, you know, COD alum, our boy Neil Magny, has moved up in the ranks in UFC. I think he's now what? You said he's a top 10 fighter, right?
Absolutely. Hold on, I'll give it to you right now. Give you exactly what he is. As he should be. And as he should, you know, he should be considered for a title fighter, I think. It's amazing. Now it's showing us that he's ranked. He didn't quite crack top 10. He didn't crack.
Okay.
Top 10. Not yet.
Top 15. Top 15 or something.
Yeah.
But he up there. He moving up.
Yeah, absolutely.
He won his last fight. When's his next fight? Because I know he had signed on for at least 2.
Yeah, exactly. He did. He signed on for at least 2. His next fight, UFC, I think it's going to be held in Vegas again. I don't think they matched him up with a fighter yet, but he said in a tweet that he put out that he heard a lot of people were talking mess. A lot of people wanted to challenge him. A lot of people felt like they could step in the ring with him after watching his last fight. You know, so I know that it's in the works currently. You know what I mean? It's in the works currently. Everybody wants to try to take a shot at a winner, right?
And I know the way the UFC goes. It's like every time you win in the UFC, they offer you more fights, right?
Exactly. He was guaranteed 2 fights before he even stepped into the ring the last time. So he's definitely got a fight coming up. Yeah. It's just who's the challenger going to be?
Cool.
You know who wants to take
who
that?
Is it?
Who wants to take that L?
Yeah, man. And the last fight that he did win, he was right before the main event.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so he was the last undercard before the main event. So he moving up there, man. Shout out Magny.
Yeah, shout out to that dude. Man. Number 1, Usman's still number 1. Which of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
like he said in the interview he did with us, that's who he wants to fight. He wants to fight the champ.
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's coming soon.
Yeah,
You know, we
absolutely,
got Magny back, so we gonna be, paying attention, giving y'all updates. You
absolutely,
know.
absolutely.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
And,
man.
and speaking of updates, man, what's going on in this in the political arena? Everybody's ramping up their you know
They ramping up. They ramping up.
advertisement.
It's funny, man, because I seen something like, Biden and Harris, they got characters and advertising in Animal Crossing on
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo Switch. So it
Come on.
ain't safe. It ain't safe anywhere. Um, and I know right now they got Patti LaBelle versus Gladys Knight for versus,
Versus, exactly.
and I caught a glimpse of it just now. But I watched the full Brandy versus Monica,
Right.
and before Brandy and Monica started, Kamala Harris popped up on the screen to wish them well, to say
Wow.
she was a fan of both of them.
Wow.
And you know how politics is. I'm sure she is a fan. I'm sure she knows a song or two. I'm not going to discredit her and just act like she's a robot, like she doesn't
Right.
have a life outside of politics. But this is this is politics to a T, man. Because
Yeah.
she said something. She was talking just like this on a Zoom call to them, and she backed up like this, just like how my logo shows right now. She
Right.
said Howard.
Oh wow.
So she's a black woman. She's showing up on the verses with two black female R&B stars. She did a little yawn to show that she's a Howard alum. She hitting all the demographics,
Hey,
they're gonna keep
leveraging the
popping
culture.
up, yeah, leveraging the culture.
Leveraging
Exactly,
the culture.
exactly. I ain't mad at it. Um, but yeah, man, these wildfires are going on in California, and Biden was talking about how, if he gets elected, this is what he's going to do as far as funding and allocating and stuff like that. And they're working on stuff that they can do right now instead of just talk about the election.
Right.
Trump, you know, Trump, he's been through this before. I mean, Biden has too, but Trump's just doing his normal ads. I'm seeing his ads on YouTube. I'm seeing his ads on TV. They're the same ads we saw in 2016.
Right.
He's got the same kind of demeanor. He kind of doesn't give a fuck. So he's just going to say what he says. He's going to give people nicknames, Sleepy Biden, and he's going to throw shots at Kamala. But, he kind of got himself in hot water because he admitted that, there was a report that dropped that said, he had known of the severity of coronavirus.
He did.
And
he
he initially downplayed it because he didn't want, to cause a panic in America. And which was new for Trump is he admitted that. He said, yes, I did know the severity and I did downplay it. Now, he knew about it, I think, in January or early February, and we didn't get a mask mandate until April.
Exactly.
So that's kind of wild. I understand people's hesitation, but you're the president, and I think if you just came out, because like at least how I remember it, I was hearing stuff on the radio all the time about China, this coronavirus is going crazy in China. This coronavirus is going crazy, and I just kept thinking, man, don't come over here, and it was only a matter of time. Like it was like 2 weeks later on the radio, it was like, oh, there's a case in America. So I was like, oh, shit, here we go. I hope it doesn't come to my state. Yeah. And it was in my state. I hope it doesn't come around. You know what I mean? It just spread real quick. So I think during that whole thing, talking about China, I really wish that people in our government right now would have just been upfront.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe some people would have been scared, but if you let people know, like, hey, man, this thing in China could come over here. Get some masks. Be ready. We're working on something right now. I think people initially would have been a little alarmed, but I feel like, if you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. So I think we would have handled it better. I don't think you should be scared of people's feelings so much as far as I think we would have felt more safe if we were to just told up front. because now it's like, he downplays it. Fauci says one thing, CDC says another, WHO says another. So it's a lot more pandemonium when all these offices are giving different accounts at the same time. It's like, who do we
Exactly.
believe?
You have your leadership coming to the masses with
Yeah.
mixed messages instead of a united front, and
Mm-hmm.
and that's the issue, right? That's the
Yeah.
issue because we're talking about a virus, right? This is a human issue. It has nothing to do with party lines. So it's kind of like,
Exactly.
when everybody's on different fucking channels, and you have to make sure that your people, the American people, are being protected, and you know what I mean, have what they need to protect themselves until we can get, a 15-minute test in every household or a vaccine to help deal with this thing. You would have just hoped they would have handled it better. And honestly, it's outside of Trump's character to even come out and admit that he was wrong. You know what I mean? I was surprised when I saw that
Yeah.
report.
Yeah. Exactly.
To be honest with you,
Exactly.
I was
I was
surprised,
like,
man.
oh shit.
He
Oh
he
shit.
kind of owned it a little bit. You know what I mean? He was just like, yeah, I knew.
Yeah.
So
He said, hey, you know.
it is what it is.
But
It is what it is right now. So
yeah, man, you just gotta stay, keep washing your hands, keep wearing your mask, because we tell you every episode.
that's right.
I
That's
see,
right.
I see you out somewhere right now in a
Hey
different
man.
setting than normal.
Hey, let me tell you something. I'm in Winter Park, Colorado. I'm social
Hey,
distancing to the fullest extent of social
exactly,
distancing.
exactly.
I'm out here in the mountains, man. I got some jacuzzi time in last night. I'm gonna get some
Hey,
jacuzzi time in tonight. I'm just,
okay.
hey man, it's one of those things that if you can get out safely and enjoy it, hey, just
Mm-hmm.
just have a standard, right? Take precaution, wash your hands, wear your mask in public places, wipe stuff
Mm-hmm.
down, use your hand sanitizer. It's not that hard, people. It's not that
Yeah.
hard, and you can still live your life. I know it's been a little stressful for all of us in quarantine. I mean, obviously, me and you have had these conversations numerous
Oh
times,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. But hey, take this time to dive into something that you like or something that you might need to, strengthen yourself. You know what I mean? If you want to do digital
Mm-hmm.
marketing, get into that digital marketing. You want to start reading books again, start reading books again. You want to get into music, start getting into music
Yeah.
again. It's not that hard, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm out here in the mountaintop. Look, get into it. Get
Just
into
be
the
safe,
business.
man.
Hey,
Don't
hey,
don't don't 100% shut down like we were talking about the other day.
exactly.
Just be safe with it. You know what I mean? So we are talking about how to stay safe and keep being active out here. And you showing us right now, hey man, I could go out to the mountain with mountains with a couple buddies. We can get an Airbnb and we could all return home and be safe.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah, man,
It's not hard, man.
that's definitely a good thing. Just
Yeah, man.
keep the precautions at the front of your mind.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Speaking of that, we just took some burgers off the grill. So you know what that reminds me of?
Hey,
My boy Travis.
hey,
Let's talk about him. Let's talk
hey.
about him.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey fam. Travis Scott, if you didn't know, uh he's got a promotion right now with McDonald's for the
Mm-hmm.
Travis Scott meal, which is a $6 meal. It's
Mm-hmm.
nothing extensive, it's nothing crazy, it's nothing new. It's just a quarter pounder with cheese with bacon, medium fries, and a Sprite for
That's
$6.
right.
And they give
$6.
you barbecue sauce. Now, I was talking to one of my homies, and he said it was a smart move. Instead of trying to bank on something new or add something new to the menu, they just add a celebrity's name to get you to buy into what's already on the menu.
Facts.
Now, I don't think they've had a quarter pounder with cheese and bacon, but for the past few months, you have been able to add bacon to anything you ask for on
Right.
the menu. You can
Right.
go into McDonald's right now and get, large fries with bacon,
Yeah.
and they'll stick 2 slices of bacon in the large fries.
Right.
So, it's one of those things where it's like, it's nothing new, but it is kind of fun to go up to the, I ordered one. It's nothing new. Like I said, it's a good burger. I don't have McDonald's all the time. I've seen a lot of people bugging like, oh, McDonald's is terrible food. Yeah, you don't eat it every day. I haven't eaten it in maybe like this whole year.
Right.
But why not? I'll show up for Travis just for the fanfare and say, Cactus Jack sent me. Let me get a Travis Scott meal. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, a lot of people are saying, is he selling out with this? But if you remember, the only time McDonald's has had a celebrity endorsement of a meal like this was in 1992 with Michael Jordan.
Michael J.
So he's stepping into some, heavy shoes. He's stepping into some big shoes. Travis, as you know, has had his versions of Jordan's drop
Absolutely.
over, the past 2 years. But I see it like this. It's not necessarily like, oh, he's selling out or it's corny for linking with McDonald's. I see McDonald's as one of the biggest and oldest American brands, one of the largest American brands. So for Travis to link his name, it's like a cosign. It's like a stamp. He's as American as McDonald's.
Exactly. And you know what? Let me
this
add
is
to
my
that, man.
brand. I've arrived.
Yeah, let me add to that because I bringing up Travis Scott, bringing up McDonald's, a lot of people might see it like, oh, he's a rapper, right? He's a rapper doing something with McDonald's.
Yeah.
No big deal. But let me tell you why this is important to the COD podcast, right? It's important to us it's important to us because we bank on the concept of having a mastermind. And what a mastermind is in any business, any entrepreneurial venture you may have, you got to have people, smart people with different strengths, right, around you to make sure that your business is successful, right? Travis Scott has a great team around him. And I'm going to tell you why. Because not only is he doing this thing with McDonald's now, but we just saw him perform on Fortnite, right? Which
exactly another huge brand,
man. It pretty much a whole different demographic that probably would never listen to his music, probably or maybe wasn't introduced to his music organically.
Fortnite,
yeah. I'm pretty sure he picked up some fans from that. But what I'm saying is that his team set him up with that. His team helped set him up with McDonald's. He's working during these times when artists aren't making money selling records. He's working and he's getting he's out here, man. He's out here. He's getting noticed. He's growing his audience. He's establishing himself as a brand, which, like you said, and you can elaborate on this, Cactus Jack, his all his merch and stuff he's come out with as well. That's dang near a clothing line in itself. But you have to respect. Yeah, you have to see things for what they are, and it's good business. Great business savvy. It's
exactly.
And for us as a independent podcast, looking at this, entrepreneurs in our own right, we're like, damn, this is amazing. It's a strong move, bro.
Yeah,
it's a strong move.
Exactly. It really is. He's been dropping McDonald's themed clothing on his website. I ain't gonna lie, I copped his shirt. Now it doesn't. I didn't get one that says like McDonald's right in the middle of the chest or something.
Right.
But there was two really good products that I liked. There was one that I got that has like the action figure, which I think is going to show up in a Happy Meal at some point.
Right.
So that's cool. But it's very 90s-esque. It's like say there was some type of McDonald's sponsored event in the 90s or something, and it's a big action figure, and it says Cactus Jack sent you, and then it says like McDonald's at the bottom corner. I'll put the picture up, but it doesn't necessarily look like a McDonald's shirt. Right. It looks like a Travis Scott tour shirt that was like sponsored by McDonald's or something like that.
Exactly.
Now the other one that I liked, but it was a little expensive, for me to just cop, was if you remember the McDonald's All-American basketball games, when they used to host the greatest, high school basketball players across the country to come play at the McDonald's All-American basketball games.
Yeah.
So he did a riff on that, and he released the Cactus Jack All-American basketball jersey. It has the McDonald's logo, but it says Cactus Jack All-American. So, I mean, his team really did dig into the archives and try to figure out, like, what is something nostalgic we can put out there? What are some of the things that McDonald's has probably released over the years that you don't realize that McDonald's has been a part of?
Right.
But, outside of the obvious, like, oh, this is corny, it's more so like I said, it's an American brand. it's one of the oldest institutions. It's one of the most visible institutions. So to put Travis Scott's name with that is just like Fortnite, like you said. How many people talk about Fortnite? Oh, this is whatever type of game. We want to play Call of Duty. We want to play PUBG. You know, Fortnite is still the number one video game. So Travis Scott and his team, they know what they're doing. They're aligning him with number one brands out here. So
Yeah, man. Get him
I
exposed.
applaud his team,
Exposure.
man. I applaud his team. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. Absolutely. His team's doing a wonderful
And
job.
and as you said, when artists can't, have, tours and stuff like that, he's making money because all these T-shirts,
Mm-hmm.
it's like $48 each. You know what I mean? There was like a chicken nugget pillow that was like $90. So all this stuff is selling out. He's making bread. Like he's making bread. The same thing with Fortnite. He sold Fortnite merch too,
Right.
making bread. But what was cool? He did show up to a McDonald's. I think the first McDonald's, they said one of the first McDonald's in Downey, California. So he showed up there. A bunch of his fans showed up. A lot of people were like, "Oh man, COVID! Like this is kind of irresponsible." But people had masks out there. Even though it was pandemonium, it wasn't like thousands of people. It might have been 200 people max that showed up and kind of like crammed the parking lot. But
Right.
he was out there for like a good, 30 minutes or something. He jumped on top of his car. All of his fans were handing him like memorabilia and merch to sign. And, even though he didn't really perform music, he took out his phone and he played some music off his phone. I think he played some music from the car and was dancing around with people. But he was right there, face to face with people, shaking people's hands, dancing with people, doing all that. And in this time of uncertainty and whatnot, everyone's outside. They weren't inside. So hopefully, if you have your mask on and you're outside,
Yeah.
you're safe to an extent. But
It's
it was cool
risque.
to see that joy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's risky. It's risky. It's risky. But, there was something report put out there about the protests saying, it didn't really, COVID didn't really spread heavily like people thought
Right.
during these protests. Now, I know in the protests, people are constantly moving. They're walking down the street. They're constantly moving. But those are still big crowds, bigger crowds than the McDonald's crowd for Travis at these protests. But, if everyone has their mask on and they're outside,
Yeah.
it greatly, minimizes the risk. It's still risky,
Yeah.
but it was cool to see people have an escape for a little bit. His fans are really happy. They're eating up the moment. He gets to still feel like he's on his stage a little bit when he hops on the hood of a car.
Yeah.
I was like, for that little bit, people forget that there's some danger out there.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully they got some hand sanitizer real quick.
Real quick, spray some 409 in the air.
Exactly.
Hey, I want to bring this up too, man, because we
Cool,
covered this
man.
when we had
Yeah.
when we had the guy Thug the Bugger on here, and me and you have
Yeah.
actually touched on this a couple of times when we brought it up. I think our last episode,
Yeah.
when it was just me and you, we brought up TikTok. And
Yeah.
I know that Trump issued an order, barring U.S. companies from doing business with TikTok's parent company, a Chinese company.
10 cent, I think.
Yeah, and TikTok actually sued over that. So what happened was that TikTok was like, okay, you know what? We'll just sell our U.S. holdings, right? We'll sell our U.S. holdings. So Microsoft came with a strong deal. It came with a strong deal to acquire TikTok, which I would have liked to see Microsoft with TikTok, right? But man, TikTok sold to Oracle. So I'm just like, okay, well, they must see some real value in this thing to go head to head with because I know Microsoft probably came with a hefty bag.
I don't think I've heard of Oracle being in a space like that in a while. I know there's still a company and they're not dead out here, but like Oracle, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. They beat out the Microsofts and the Facebooks. Oracle.
That's
Do they own any type of social media? Is this their first foray?
I
that
think
was a Hail Mary.
That's a Hail Mary, bro. I think that they might obviously they're in the coding and you know what I mean. They're probably involved somehow in these apps and these programs. But yeah, like you said, they've never been like a forerunner in the app space. So I'm like, damn, what does TikTok
Let's
value
see what's
that?
gonna happen.
Right.
Exactly.
What do they value that? Like, you know, why is this why did they go out on the limb to make such a strong move? You know what I mean? So
and you know,
if you can call it out, what's TikTok's like demographic, bro? Like let me know. Like
you know, it's children. It's children, man. It's like, you know, like you could say like hip hop or something is like 18 to 35, right?
Right.
What's the demographic like right under that? Like,
yeah.
like it's got to be like 12 to 19 or something. It's got to be like, I know there's all ages on TikTok, but like the people I know on TikTok are like they're still children. They're kids, you know. It's like a lot of kids are making the content. A lot of kids are stars, and I know kids are eating it up. People who are our age who are on TikTok are probably creating TikToks. They're trying to catch the wave. You know, they're not really consuming. They're trying to, you know, be a star on TikTok. They're not necessarily scrolling through TikTok themselves, just being a pure consumer of content.
Yeah, man.
I think that's the children.
Catch me out west.
That's where, yeah, man. And it's crazy, man, because I remember coming up and being the first on MySpace. I remember, you know, Facebook started for college kids, but then they opened it up, and when they opened it up, I was one of the first on Facebook.
Damn! Shout out to Tom. Hey, shout out to Tom. You remember Tom?
Hey, shout out Tom. I remember when YouTube started, and it was just anime on YouTube. I remember when Twitter started in college. Right. So this is the first. I remember like late college when Instagram started. You know, so. This is really the first social network that I don't feel connected to. I don't understand it. Like, I just know people dance, and they don't really dance. They just move their hands, and people eat it up. I remember Vine.
Hey, I'm bored in the house. Like, house bored. You know what I mean? Like,
come on, cuz. This is really the first. Hey, this is the first social media company I don't feel connected to. That's how I know I'm getting old. That's how I know I'm.
You know what's so crazy? Like just and just like you said, man, it just raises so many questions. I'm just curious as to what direction Oracle's gonna go in with it.
And you know what's crazy? The Chinese, they're not happy about it.
No, not at all.
They're not, because there was a report that came out saying the Chinese government opposes the sale of TikTok to a U.S. owner and says they'd rather just shut TikTok down.
Right.
So the Chinese government is threatening to just end TikTok altogether.
Yeah, they feel like
shut it down. They're like, look, if we can't control it, and if, like, I know TikTok wasn't just sold outright to an American owner. The American operations were sold to an American owner.
Right.
But the Chinese government is like, nah, F that. Like, if we can't control TikTok, then no one can have TikTok, not even us. So the Chinese government has threatened to just shut it down, just erase it, wipe it off the face of the planet. So
and ultimately, I think that's why the company moved forward so quickly to sell its American holdings, just because of what you said. You know, Chinese government wants to shut it down. Trump is opposing it 100% just off GP, and you know, and they like, man, you know what? We don't want to be shut down, but we don't want to come out of this, you know, with our hands in our pocket.
Some bread, at least get some money and hold on to it, you know.
Exactly. So it was a smart move.
It might be a rainy day coming up, you know.
Yeah, it was a smart move. You know. It's just like, man, I don't see MySpace making those type of deals right now.
Nah, man. Like you said, where's Tom at? He's chilling. He's lucky. Tom is somewhere happy that he got out of this before social media got too crazy.
He hit the eject button, man. He bailed out.
He said, look, it was much simpler when you can just pick what song to play on your page.
For real. Let me get my background. Let me get my song. It's all good. Luda.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we out here.
But, hey, you know, I kind of want to pivot back to music for a bit. Your boy 6ix9ine.
Oh, the flop,
I ain't even gonna
the
say your boy. I
tattletale,
don't want to say it like that. Yes, you know.
the
So he released
tattletale.
Tattletales, right? And his boy Academics, before the album even dropped, was talking about it's projected to sell 160. It's projected to sell 160 in the week. Big Sean had dropped. This is
Right.
Big Sean's like first album in a little bit, or
Detroit
first
too.
major length solo. Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Detroit 1 was hard.
Hard.
Detroit 2, his best album. His best album. He really delivered. He really delivered on this one.
Yeah, man.
But the thing is, 6ix9ine, if you know, he's a big showboater. You know, he'll diss people in the worst ways. We all know his snitching history, so people already got something against him for that.
Absolutely.
Um, but you know, he's been going at our Chicago brethren. You know, so you know he's been dissing Dirk. He's been dissing King Von. He showed up to Dirk's cousin's I guess site where he got gunned down and was kind of being, you know, like facetious. He was like, "Oh, rest in peace," blah blah blah. But you know, it's like he doesn't really mean that. You know, why are you going to? You don't know him at all. You've been beefing with Dirk, so why are you showing up at his cousin's, you know, site where he got murdered and you know, kind of mocking him? Now it's not just Chicago that he disrespected because he
L.A.
showed up at he showed up in LA. He showed
Yeah.
up to a Nipsey mural and he did the same type of mockery where he said, "Nipsey, I know you're looking down on me, blah, blah, blah." Nipsey wasn't really fond of him when he was living.
Right.
So, you know, he was saying some stuff about Pop Smoke. Now I think him and Pop Smoke were never like they never hated on each other. But you know, people who rock with Pop Smoke, they don't really like 6ix9ine like that. Like Pop Smoke's fans are like, why are you even bringing up, you know, Pop? So, you know, 6ix9ine is just mentioning a lot of people who have passed, saying, "I know you're looking down on me, this, and that." Either way, you know, he drops Tattletales, and you know, what you reap, you sow. You know, so even with all the bundles, this is the last time that Billboard is going to accept bundle sales. So, you know, just like how Travis Scott sells merch, a
Right.
lot of his merch comes packaged with an album download code.
Exactly.
So every time you buy a shirt, it's like an album sale. All the artists do it now. Um, you know, 6ix9ine keeps saying he's blackballed, this, and that. But Academics put him at 160,000 for a projection of the week. He ended up selling 53,000.
Yeah.
So Big Sean came out on top, number one album for the week, was selling 109,000. And it's one of those things like, you know, 6ix9ine puts himself in this kind of cloud of hatred where it's like, yo, come at me, you can't get at me, because he has 10 security guards around him. He walks around with kind of like presidential security. And, you know, he's a federal informant too. So you got to think that there's some type of protection, federal protection around him.
Yeah.
But it kind of begs the question, if you're not meeting these projections, regardless album bundles are, you know, counted or not, you talking about streaming this, that, and the third. If you're not meeting your projections, how could you keep affording security like that? You're making
Yeah.
a lot of enemies out there.
Yeah. I'm happy you mentioned that, man, because I got 2 points to make on this. First of all, with the way he does business, with things he says, the way he disrespects people, 6ix9ine has kind of boxed himself in, right? He's put himself in a
Yeah.
box. Nobody wants to work with him. Nobody wants
Mhm.
to support him. They don't want their name tied in with him. Um, which brings up my other point and exactly what you said, right? 160,000 he was projecting. He only hit 53,000. Like, bro,
Exactly.
like you ain't working with no top producers. You're not, you know what I mean? You're not getting promoted the right way. You know what I mean? You're not
He's
gonna
not
be there.
getting features.
You're not getting features. You can't perform right now because of COVID-19. You would have think the
Yeah.
boy would have learned a little something and just be humble and just calm it down just a little bit.
Yeah.
Biggest reason is just like you said, he denied federal. So this is from what I had read previously. He denied federal
Yeah.
protection, so he's paying
Yeah.
his own security guards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, if you ain't selling no records, guess what? That money ain't gonna be coming in like that. You can't afford that
Yeah.
security. I
Yeah.
mean, like you said, he's beef with a lot of people, man. I mean, I hope not, knock on wood or whatever, you know, God bless his family. But honestly, man,
Yeah.
I think it's only a matter of time, man. I think this guy is problematic, and I think that he's boxed himself in, man. And I just hope the kid man, he's gonna get what he, you know, he's gonna get what he's looking for, and
Yeah, man.
I hope he knows that, man. I hope he, you know, finds some sense real quick and tries to lay low for a couple of months
You know, come on now.
before the wave hits
He
the
got to be like
bankroll.
Ack and just stay in the basement now, you know, because
Yeah,
it's really wild, you know. Like it's another thing. Like he hit up all the hip hop media, right? He hit up Breakfast Club. They didn't want to do an interview with him. Hot 97, they didn't want to do an interview. Drink Champs with Nori. Joe Budden said, you know, he called their team. And it's crazy. Like, you know, you got a friend in Ack. Why don't you just, you know, keep
go out
talking
like
to
that.
Ack? Why don't, you know, go holler at him? But I guess what Budden said was he's really looking for a cosign because Ack has a huge platform. You can get on Twitch. You can talk to Ack on Instagram. You can talk to the people directly and get out what you need to get out. But I guess it's like he wants to sit next to someone and it makes it look like this is validation. Like he's good in the culture. People want to speak to him.
Right,
No
right.
one in hip hop wanted to speak to him. So if you paid attention, he showed up on the Logan Paul podcast. You know, he spoke to the Nelk boys. He had spoke to the Shade Room.
He's
Now
supposed
the
to. I
Shade
saw
Room,
the shade room. I saw the shade room.
Shade Room is kind of closer to hip hop culture. It's kind of closer to the culture. But for him to go on Logan Paul and the Nelk boys, both of their podcasts, um, you know, he's doing the YouTube circuit now. Those are
Right.
YouTubers. Those are people outside of the culture. Those are people who, you know, and I heard that it was a good interview from what it, you know, from for what it's worth. Just because they're outside of the culture, they can act like they're ignorant and just ask him questions like, so what's this? What's that? What's this?
Yeah. Explain
So it
this.
was kind of
Right.
like, yeah, it was kind of like, you know, an outsider looking into his situation. But they didn't really respect him on the show. They were asking him questions like, so if you know that you're boxing yourself in, like you said, why do you keep doing this? He said, oh, that's my promo. That's how I got hot. That's how, you know, it's like their questioning kind of made him look dumb.
Right.
So no one in hip hop wants to talk to you. You're speaking to YouTubers.
Man,
No, man.
you know what? And even that answer is not the answer of a business savvy man. It's like this is what I usually do. This is what made me hot. Yeah, that's when you had a little credit. That's when you had some people behind you. You're not in that
Facts.
position anymore. You know, you even had 50 who was like, "Oh, that's my son." You know what I mean? Like you had
Yeah.
cosigns. You had people who were messing with you. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're not in that same position, bro. And the only thing that's constant out here is change. And your whole situation out here in the culture has changed, my man.
Yeah.
You gotta reposition yourself to win. And he ain't
Exactly.
repositioning himself to win. And you know, and it's crazy because 6ix9ine the type of cat, he'll listen to what we saying right now and be like, oh, them dudes don't know nothing. But it's like, bro, it's obvious. You know what I'm saying? Only a blind man can't see that his own actions are destroying him. You know, so it's like I said, I hope he's whatever. But yeah, man, Tattletales, Flop City.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
over with.
man.
It's over with.
So, you know, it's the changing of the guards out here, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Changing
that's
of
a
the
fact.
guards.
That's a fact, man. That's a fact.
I'm not happy to see anyone's downfall, but
Yeah,
you know, I'm happy to see him be humbled a little bit. You know,
yeah.
hopefully he switches up his ways. You know, because you know, who knows, man? He could make some tracks or he can make some content out here, but you know, just relax. You know, you don't have to go in on people and try to expose people to be hot. You know, you don't have to do all that. You
Yeah,
already made it here. Switch it up. You know, 50, you know, he got here on his talent. Yeah, he was still kind of you know, a little bit of a bully, but even he knows when to, you know, quit the beef and then turn up the business acumen, you know?
absolutely. I mean, think about it, bro. He switched. He went from music to vitamin water. You know what I'm saying? Cashing out on one of
Yeah.
the biggest deals of water any art of anybody in hip hop. And then
Yeah.
and now he's in the movie space. You know what I'm saying? And
Facts.
thriving in the
Facts.
movie space. And it's
Yeah.
and it's one of those things, man. Like you could still, be a pillar of the culture, but if you don't stick and move with the changing times, I mean, you just stagnant, bro. You just, you're a puddle of water that's going to evaporate eventually, if I could use that analogy. you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But
And I know you out here reading the book, man.
hey, I'm out
Let's
here.
let's holler our next episode for a little bit. I know I got a guest next episode, but next time that we're on speaking to each other, let's give people a recap of the book, man. I think that should give us time to really like finish the book and reflect
Yeah,
over these
absolutely.
next two episodes, man. So yeah,
Absolutely.
man.
Hey, but I got to
Yeah.
mention this too, man, on Twitter. So I read this book called The Rage of Dragons, which they
Hmm.
described as Gladiator meets Game of Thrones. And if you know anything about me, you know that I like those epic adventure, deep plot, mystical mayhem, sex, politics, the whole nine, right?
Facto.
In one bundle.
Yeah.
So I read this book, man, and it was amazing. And the author is a young brother by the name of Evan Winter. And I just want to shout him out, man, because I
Okay.
followed him on Twitter and he's been replying to me, man. I told him I'm excited for it. We've been chatting a little bit.
Okay.
I can't
Shit.
wait. And he's been replying to me. And then his
Yeah.
second book of that series drops in November. And if you haven't checked it out, it's called The Rage of Dragons. If you got a little time on your hands, you're still quarantining or self-quarantining or just want to get back into reading, The Rage of Dragons is definitely a book you can grab and kind of get into. It grips the
Hey, I'm
imagination, if
with
you
it.
will. Yeah, absolutely.
All
I
right.
gotta shout him out, man. He's not Hollywood out here. He's replying to the
Yeah.
fans, so you gotta respect that.
I gotta find that, man. Send me a link, bro.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm a somebody put me on the scribd.com. You can get a I think like a monthly subscription and get, your whole pick of ebook.
Oh
So
wow. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna be
I
out
thought
here. I'm gonna
you
be
you
out
know it's
here.
crazy, man. I thought about getting a Kindle, but it's something about me holding a book in my hand. I
The
don't know.
book, yeah, 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 yeah. Nah,
You know
that's
what I'm saying?
good, bro. You definitely gotta keep print alive, man.
You
Can't
know,
be staring at a screen all the time.
you know what I'm
There's
saying?
definitely there's definitely benefits to having print in your hand, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Hey, speaking of that, man, all these kids, I got a couple friends who are teachers. What you think about this e-learning, man? What do you think about this distance learning at home with these kids?
Um, I think it's something. I think it's okay. My brother is in college right now. He's doing well. He set himself up a schedule, so he's sitting there, listening to his lectures, doing his work, staying focused. I know compared to me in college, it was, you know, wake up, crack a beer, you know,
Yeah, you know,
get your work done,
yeah,
rush to class. So to me, as somebody looking back, it's like, yo, you got everything in the world. You at home, you make your own schedule, you're focused, this is
yeah,
good for you.
yeah,
But at the same time, it's like, I mean, he still got his friends out here. So it's nothing too, crazy or different for him. But at the same time, it's like, maybe for the college kids, you're kind of taking away that experience.
exactly.
But at that age, it's like, do you necessarily need? Because that's something I think about all the time. It's like, were we conditioned just because we saw American Pie and everything, and just college culture that you had to party?
Right,
Partying is
right.
great. Partying is great, but it's like I feel like sometimes it was just feverish, like you had to.
Yeah.
Thirsty Thursday, Friday, Saturday, brunch on Sunday.
If I went to
Like
a college banger and I didn't do a keg stand, am I really doing it right? Like, nah, I
exactly,
feel incomplete.
exactly,
I feel incomplete,
exactly.
man.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
on the one hand, I feel sorry for the college kids because it's like you might be missing out on parties, but
right.
the good thing is just focus right now. Really get your schoolwork done. There's going to be
Yeah,
parties in the future. You're not going to
absolutely.
miss out. If
Yeah,
you still have your close friends around you, you can still go and do turn up with your friends. So
exactly.
it's nothing too crazy. I think the real issue with this e-learning is the kids.
Right.
High school, you might. you know, you might feel like, dang, I really got to get out there and hang out with my friends. But if they're all in the same neighborhood, you're good.
You're
I
Gucci.
think it's really like
The younger kids, man,
these
being
kindergarten and
socialized.
grade school kids. The
Yeah,
kindergarten and grade school kids, they need the socialization. You know what I mean? That's their
absolutely,
developmental years. The older kids
absolutely.
can handle it. They can dial back, they can get on their phones, they can
Yeah.
find ways, they can, if they're of driving age, they can still drive and do their thing.
Oh,
But the
you know
younger
what? Or
kids,
they can hop on the sticks. You know what I'm saying?
exactly, exactly.
So you
The
can just
younger
go.
kids, man, it's different for them. You know, they're
Yeah,
still developing, so they're still learning the world. They're still like, you know, what's this, what's that.
yeah.
Especially for the kindergartners, you know. And it's crazy. I saw a story. It's getting wild out here, man. I saw a story of a third grader. He was in his own crib, just like we are, and he had a Nerf gun. Right? He was playing with a Nerf gun.
Oh,
Nerf gun,
yeah,
as
yeah.
you know, it doesn't look like a real gun at all.
No,
It's
not at
very
all.
colorful. It's very big and bulky. You can tell it's made of plastic. But the teacher, for whatever reason, had said something about, you know, the teacher said something about, you know, I think they called the cops on the kid saying that, you know, he brought a gun to school.
Yeah, the teacher felt
Did he
threatened
bring a
or
gun to
something like
school? No, he's got a Nerf gun in his own house. He's
that.
not pointing it at people, threatening them. He's, you know, he's being idle. Yeah, he's picking up the gun and, you know, playing around with it, but he's not telling people on camera, you know, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
For
right.
whatever reason, she says that he brought a gun to school, technically. So police show up at his crib, and now he's got a record, and he's been suspended from school for so many amount of days, but it's on his record. This third grader has it on his record now. So
Right.
that's something that's crazy too. You know, you gotta, I mean, that's a very extreme case, and I hope his parents can fight it and get that off his record, because like, yo, I'm in the fucking sanctity of my own house.
Yeah,
You know, sorry for my language, but come on now.
yeah.
That's not a real gun. You know it's not a real gun. It's not a BB gun. It's a Nerf gun. You know what that looks like. So, you know, hopefully this thing can tell, you know, it can show people like, look, man, I know we're distance learning, but it's not the same rules. He didn't bring that to school.
Yeah,
This is in
exactly.
his own house.
Exactly.
And, you know, there was something else where a kid was like eating, right? And the teacher said, no eating in class. And it was just so happened that his mother heard that. And his mother said, he is in his own house. His mother said that, and the teacher shut up. So it's one
Yeah.
of these things where, like, you know, don't try to role play like you're still in the classroom. There's definitely clearly different rules right now. If a kid is at home and his mom gives him some apples to eat while he's listening, let the kid eat some apples. If the kid is clearly distracted, say something. But, like,
Yeah.
where do you get off telling people how to act in their own house? You
And
know,
then I
it's
got
like we're
something to say
tuning
to
in to
you as well,
learn.
bro. And you know what? School is supposed to be setting you up for the real world, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Let
Mm-hmm.
me tell you something, man. If I'm in the office or even this, we're doing the pod, I have no problem with
Yeah.
picking up my drink, taking a sip. If I'm hungry,
Yeah.
throw a peanut in my mouth. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's you know, especially when your brain's going and you're learning,
Yeah.
you're doing something, you're concentrating on something. Everybody knows that mental work can be more strenuous than physical work. And you might need to
Exactly.
replenish yourself. I don't see the issue with that. I don't see the issue with
Yeah.
being able to accomplish the daily tasks that a teacher, you know, sets in front of the students and eat an apple. You know, I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
Let's
And these
calm
are
down.
young kids.
Yeah,
These are young kids too. So like I don't think you need to go that hard on them and try to bring disciplinary action
yeah.
for such minor tasks.
Or
I can see
call.
if they were screaming over a stream and you had to like mute them and tell them, you know, calm down, or if you have to do this or do that. But you know, that's you know, for the teachers to figure out. That's for the teachers to really switch up their methods of teaching. You got to understand you're not in the classroom.
Yeah,
People are going to be more relaxed. You know, even you know, when I had to sign into Zoom meetings, I wasn't always wearing a polo. I was wearing a shirt. You know, like we're at home. You're
Exactly.
gonna come at me for not being business casual in my house. So, you know, it's one of those things. But, you know, on the other flip side, you know, we spoke about the teachers. There's also some responsibility for the parents during this you know, distance learning thing. You can't just leave them and say, okay, they learned all that they need to over the computer. You know,
Right.
it's something for the parents. They kind of have to be more involved nowadays. Like, hey,
Man,
okay, this happened. Do you know what this is? Let's go over this again, type of thing. And there's a lot of people out there. I know my cousin is starting a pod where
right.
she's showing up to some, you know, third grader's house, and she's going over the lesson plans with that kid after he's done with his lessons. And hopefully
Exactly.
you bring some neighborhood kids together, and, you know, you help them teach so they can still get some in-person learning. So, you know, it's definitely a little bit more involved you have to be with the younger kids in distance learning.
Yeah, and, you know, and I imagine it's harder on the parents, especially the parents who, you know, are trying to work full time, and with the
Yeah.
kids, with especially with the younger kids, not so much the high schoolers and stuff, but with the younger kids being at home. I mean, it's tough. You know, it's tough.
Yeah.
You know, shout out to all the parents out there, because we know it's tough and it's difficult. But you
Yeah.
know what? It's a new world, man. It's a new world out here, and there's things that we're going to have to adjust to, and it's, you know, ways of learning, and it's ways of getting stuff done at home, because even for some adults it's hard for them to work from home. You know, I've had numerous
Yeah.
people tell me that it's been a transition, right? It's like, man, I got to keep
Yep.
myself motivated. I got to keep myself in the game when I'm at home, because I'm not used to working from home. I mean, a lot of people didn't see the value of that office until they didn't have that option anymore. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just,
Yeah.
you know, it's the new norm, man. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be rough, but we got to do what we got to do to move everybody, move society as a whole forward.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, man.
So I think we're coming up on an hour or so.
Yeah, that's right. So
Um,
let's recap the episodes, man. We had
yeah,
two good
man.
episodes.
Yeah, we did. We did. Who was before,
Matt Brazel, and then
who was
Fred
before
Marshall.
Brazel?
Fred Marshall.
Yes, how could I forget Fred? How could I forget the homie Fred? That was one of our best episodes of this whole run.
Hey, man.
That was
Hey,
one of our
man.
best episodes. I got motivated, bro. I got motivated. I
Hey,
know you've known him for some time, but
yeah.
I was introduced to him on that episode. Um, I was motivated, bro. I mean, he speaks a language that I speak. You know,
Yeah, he definitely
he's
dropped some
very
dimes on
motivated.
us. He dropped some dimes on us, man.
He's
Yeah.
he's in that marketing field. You know,
Mhm.
like you and me. So it's he reminded me of myself. You know, when I talk to people about music. You know, it's like you can see that he sees the bigger picture right now.
Exactly.
So when he's talking, it's like you got to keep up. You got to get clued in. But he
Yeah.
sees it right now. He knows where he's going to be in 5, 10 years. He's telling you right now, like, this is where this person has to be, this person, this person. He's got the organization down pat.
Right.
People just gotta, you know, listen and follow. So, you know, he definitely reminded me of me, like when I talk to people about music, like, yo, I'm working with this producer because of this, and I'm doing this because of that. And you speak very passionately, you know, you speak like we can do it right now, and you need someone like that in business, you know. So, you
Absolutely.
know I keep saying motivation, but he got me motivated, man. He got me
Yeah.
riled up to keep going, you know.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
that was a great conversation.
rethinking different, revamping old ideas to create new ideas and new products. Whatever your vision is, you visualize it, you plan it, and then you execute, man. I agree. Having Fred on was a treat, and every time I talk to him, he reminds me of something that may have slipped my mind. You know, when doing business, or when dealing with people out here in the professional world, it's like, look, man, you got to capitalize. Look, you got to realize that you don't have to know everything, right? Got to surround yourself by people
Yeah.
who know everything. I mean,
And
like you said,
Fred,
it just very motivating episode. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you go back and check it out. Fred Marshall, that was episode 11.
now I know this is something that we talk about behind the scenes, but, you know, just on some transparency,
Yeah.
Fred, his episode cracked 100.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we back up there. We back up there. Our views have been rising. Even Matt Brazel's episode is around 90 right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Shout out James and Bill.
Yeah.
They cracked 200. Bill is up by 250.
Yeah.
So, shout out to everybody who's watching, man. We definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, it doesn't go
appreciate that.
Doesn't go unnoticed, and it doesn't go unappreciated, man. I
feel like Fred brought the energy.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely, and really made us look at the big picture, or reminded us of the big picture that we were looking at previously. Sometimes, you need to be motivated even by something that you're motivated to do, right? Because we're motivated to do. We love doing that. Yeah. And you know what, man? Hey, let's talk about Matt Brazel, man. Let's talk about Matt Brazel.
Man. That was a great episode. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman.
That's right. A King's legacy.
Now, we called Matt Brazel on the episode because we know him. We were introduced to him as a writer, as a blogger, as a movie buff, aficionado, all that. So, one thing that we really wanted him on there for was his Marvel expertise.
Yeah.
And not just Marvel expertise, but his movie expertise. So, we had planned for him to come on the show and kind of break down Chadwick's character in Black Panther and what it means, to the culture. And then from there, also speak about his other movies and how that, translates to cinema as a whole.
Yeah.
But one thing I learned about Matt was that, he works on set with Fargo.
Right.
I think Chris Rock is in this season of Fargo.
Yeah.
So that's cool. It's like, you not only do you know this much about movies, but you're on set.
Yeah. And when somebody's involved in the process. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And when somebody's involved in the process, man, he knows what these actors go through. He knows what these writers go through. He knows how big, when people are in big roles like that and they have to embody that character, he knows what goes into it. So for him to kind of go over Chadwick's character and the roles that he played and the messages he pushed up until, his passing, rest in peace. I mean, it was just, it was a treat, man. It was a treat. It was heartfelt. Obviously, he mentioned strength multiple times, and that's because Chadwick shows strength, man. The embodiment of strength. Nobody knew that he had colon cancer. Nobody knew that. I knew that, And it's just one of those things, man. We felt like we had to dedicate a whole episode to him and his career, and Matt Brazel was who we brought on to put the cherry on the cake. So to speak. So,
and I like how he brought his knowledge to the forefront. It wasn't just Black Panther. Before I got to mention how good I thought Da 5 Bloods was,
right?
He was already there.
He was there.
Da 5 Bloods. He mentioned that quick. He had mentioned his other movies that he had seen. Not only was he mentioning the movies that he had seen and what that means, but he was also, comparing him to other stars out there that I might not, or that, we might not have compared him to. The parallels between Chadwick, and his death announcement, or how we found out about his illness, just like David Bowie.
Exactly.
Now, I knew the story of Bowie, but I don't think if we had just done that episode ourselves that I would have brought up David Bowie.
Not at all.
I don't know if I would have said that. Comparing him to an actor like Robert Redford.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I see the picture, I know who Robert Redford is. I recognize him, but I don't know if that would have, So it was definitely great to have a different perspective, to bring other parts of the culture that we might have, glossed over. We might have kept it focused on just our worldview and what we think. So it was good to have somebody like him to kind of expand that and bring that to the COD. So
absolutely,
I'll thank him for showing up too.
Yeah, thank you, Fred. Thank you, Matt Brazel, and man, thank you for everyone who listens to our episodes.
We got something in store for y'all. We got something in store for y'all, man. Just wait on it. We got some things in the works outside of your normal episodes, your normal weekly episodes. We got some more. I don't want to name what we have, but we got some product dropping for y'all soon. We got something
Product.
outside of your normal recorded episodes.
Hey, it's Ryan and Paul, and this is the Cod.
Yes, sir. Episode 13.
That's right.
Peace.
Peace.